Good morning, Service Alliance community. EJ, you got to do it like Zach. I can't. I just can't do it.
I want to hear Justin's invitation. Good.
I'm not doing it.
Morning.
It's as good as you get, guys. I just can't
I told
do it anywhere
I told
near.
Zach I still like the old one. Hey, everybody, it's the Service Alliance podcast. I am your host. With it kind of sounded like Yogi Bear when he did it. I am your host with the most equipment that don't work.
That's funny.
Hey, oh man. So, good morning, everybody.
Good morning. We got EJ on with us on a Wednesday. How about that? It's a special treat.
Our specialty is Justin, but I'm just here. As you can see from the different screen layout, we have a few sponsors. My Office Help. Shout out to Shayna and the team. And TMM Academics, Brother B and Brother Rick, getting your training in. And ITD Web Design. I don't even know who those people are.
Yeah, a bunch of schmucks. Those guys ain't nobody.
Good morning.
Good morning, Joe.
So, what are we talking about today, Mike?
We are talking about continuing our theme of buy-in this week, but I wanted to focus more on customer buy-in instead of employee buy-in.
Oh yeah,
I think that there's always a side of every company that you got to get buy-in from a lot of different angles, right? Both your employees, and obviously your customers have to buy into you. How do you get them to choose you over somebody else? So that's what I wanted to start with, and we'll see how the conversation goes. I think you guys will have a lot to add to that.
I'm kind of excited about it because, most people know me and Justin have relatively new businesses, both in the 4 or 5 year mark right now, and building teams. So we have recent experience of building credibility and buy-in with a customer base, and it is a little different than the buy-in that we've been talking about this week about getting your team to buy in. I know Zach and Doug talked briefly yesterday about, Doug getting people to buy into him coming to their house instead of Jay.
Right.
As he was, one of Jay's first employees, if not the first. You got to build your reputation. And, me and Justin both came into new markets and had to gain credibility with an entire customer base so that we can grow our businesses. So
absolutely,
I'm looking forward to the discussion, see where it goes. So,
all right, let's pray us in. I'll pray us in real quick, and then we'll get into it. Heavenly Father, bless this conversation. Bless all those that are watching and currently and that are going to watch in the future. And I ask that you be with them and help their businesses grow on your terms, not their own. Lord, we're going to talk about how you help some people get buy-in in the community, and got mass people to follow other people so that your will could be done. I hope that resonates I pray that resonates with everyone listening, and it's in Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
All right, so we're talking about buy-in. So how do you get people to buy in to your vision or somebody else's vision for that matter? And I was thinking about this, and I was trying to figure out a tie-in with some Bible verses, and rather than focus on one verse and kind of coffee cup the conversation into a little chunk, I was thinking about Moses and how God spoke to Moses, right? And gave him a vision for what God wanted Moses to do for his people. And, you know, and when his people were enslaved in Egypt, he had to get them out of there. He said, let my people go, right? Release them. So he had to basically convince his people, we need to leave Egypt. You know, even though they were slaves, they still had meals. They still had, you know, some semblance of safety. And you gotta think, they've been slaves for like what, 400 years? And it was just their life. And now Moses said, I'm going to uproot you and you're going to follow me into the desert. And there's nothing there for us. So how do you get a mass amount of people like that and convince them that they have to follow you? And I think I mean, sometimes we have a hard time getting one or two people to buy into us, right? But that's an example where a whole community and a whole mass amount of people, you know, thousands and thousands of people followed Moses out into the wilderness and for the promise of something better, right? So were they following the person or were they following the promise that was laid out before them? You know, because I mean, you think about it, God gave Moses the vision. God gave Moses the direction. He didn't give it to the people, but he allowed the people to have trust and faith in Moses. So I was thinking about that a lot, and I'm like, how hard would that be for somebody to be able to do? You know, I mean, we're so focused on our employees and a little bit of our customers, you know, which is a little bigger scale, right? So how do you scale that up as you're scaling your business? How do you get customers to buy into your service business? How do you get them to choose you versus your competitor when they have so many choices these days? Or to buy a new appliance versus repairing it and just keeping it going for a while.
So EJ and I have talked extensively about this, and I think it starts with one core belief from the very beginning, which is, you know, I've talked to many young entrepreneurs, and all you hear about is, you know, I want to make this amount of money and da da da. My intention when I first started my company was my number one goal was not to make money. My number one goal was to build a customer base and provide an unlike service in my area, which was do it with speed and do it with quality. And the rest will follow. The byproduct of that success and that purpose is the financial reward from it. And I think EJ can attest to that. It's probably the same with you too, right? I mean,
yeah. I was going to add something to what Mike said too, and then back up what Justin said here. One, I like this comment that Saul said. Moses wasn't even qualified to lead. Couldn't even speak well, but God qualified him, made him new. So, you know, that's a little other piece there, but everybody that knows me knows I'm using the John Maxwell Leadership Bible. And John Maxwell has excerpts on different stories, and he has one on this one. And it kind of gets a little more clarity to the Moses situation. And that'll roll into what Justin's talking about as well. John Maxwell says the approach of the Egyptian army terrified the Israelites, and they placed heavy pressure on Moses to handle the crisis. Moses didn't panic, since he had seen the power of God's handiwork. Instead, he exuded both poise and peace, winning for himself great credibility as a leader. Through one incident, he became the nation's go-to leader, and he's outlined 4 things that gave him that credibility. And they are: 1, he projected calm instead of craziness, where he didn't panic. Moses said to the people, "Do not be afraid, stand still and see the salvation of the Lord, which he will accomplish for you today." Number 2, he projected confidence instead of cowardice. It would have been very easy to back down there. It says, "For the Egyptians whom you see today, you shall see again no more forever." Number 3, he projected clarity instead of confusion. And the verse is, "And the Lord said to Moses, why do you cry to me? Tell the children of Israel to go forward." So he had a clear path to go. Number 4, he projected competence instead of clumsiness. As opposed to his poor speaking ability, he had the competence that they could buy into. And the verse says, "Then Moses stretched out his hand over the sea, and the Lord caused the sea to go back by a strong east wind all that night, and made the sea into dry land. And the waters were divided, so the children of Israel went into the midst of the sea on dry ground. And the waters were a wall to them on their right and on their left." So, continue what we said the last 2 days. The law of buy-in says that people buy into the leader first, and then the vision, right? So, whatever it is that you have that sets you apart, you're building that credibility with the people that you encounter that you want to buy into you. And then you can share the vision. You can come in there, you hear about it all the time on the TV and the news and stuff about some random person saying, "Oh no, this is this and this is that, and we all need to do this or that," and it's like nobody's following them. I don't know who the heck they are. You can have the vision, but you don't have anybody following you. So you need to be the leader that people can trust and buy into. And sometimes that's with your track record, and sometimes that's just with character. Justin happens to have both coming into his business because he started a few and has been in the industry for a long time. But he also has great character and passion and care for others. So when I started my business, I started it just for money. I've shared that before, but as I started to see the relevance to this thing being a business that we can help lots of people with, right? And grow and hire people and help change their lives, I had to accomplish, or I had to gain the trust of the area, the customers. So we've talked about before finding that thing that separates you from the rest of the pack. And Justin taught me that. But before I met Justin, I found these little things that set me apart. And when I met Justin and he talked about it, he kind of ironed it in that this is what I need to be focused on for my business reputation building. There was a company in my area that was going out and charging people money for repairs and then not coming back. I mean, hundreds of dollars. And they would call, and then they'd call me because like, well, this company that we've been dealing with forever, all of a sudden we can't trust them anymore. So here's the only other option, right? That's how I got my first customers. But how did I convince them to stay and recommend me to others is the whole professionalism of answering my phone. Sound like I know what I'm talking about. I'm calm, competent, confident. And when I show up on time. I'm dependable. When I say I'm going to come back, I actually come back, and it's those things that we talk about in that other presentation we did, increasing your customer service to get more sales. It's about presenting well, that people trust you and buy in with that credibility that you build. Then you get to show the vision.
So as a business owner and
sir.
leader, how do you guys, you both come into starting on your businesses as new owners, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you obviously started with no employees. And you obviously started like in new markets for what you were doing. So walk us through how you started that. You start building credibility in your community with your customer base, and you're trying to get your name out there, and nobody knows your name. They just know who used to be, doing the bad service in the area, and they know who's been screwing them basically and leaving them high and dry and giving bad service. So now obviously they're not going to trust you because they've already been burned.
Yeah.
So how do you turn that around as new business owners in new areas? And then my second question to you is, once you start scaling your business, how do you flow that same, I guess, lack of a better word,
mindset?
How do you flow that culture into your employees to continue it? Because it's obviously not you showing up at the door. It's that Jay and Doug thing that they were talking about yesterday. So now Doug has to be the Jay. How do you get your guys to actually be the you and have that same customer experience through your people, through your team?
So in my situation, I started, our company would be 5 years old in June. We now employ 13 people. Well, 14, I just hired another new trainee with office staff. And then obviously Shayna at my office help. Shout out, Shayna. But, in the very beginning, the number one thing that was always taught down to me through my family in 3 generations of doing this job is the first key to customer service is communication. Over communicate. Customers love the fact that, hey, even if you have a problem come up or you can't make it, make sure to keep them in the loop. Don't, if they call you before you call them, you lose. If you call them 5 minutes before they call you, you win. Because you show that you care. You took the time to do it. And it really starts there. And obviously in the beginning, when I was building my company and trying to get my name out there, I was trying to use every platform on the internet that would allow me to put my business logo on there and get reviews. And then I would put those badges from whatever platform that I had earned through getting good reviews on the top of my website. So every customer that came to see my company would see that I have excelled on every platform on the internet, so that it builds a trust factor that, look, no matter where you would look my company up, we're doing excellent service. We are following through and customers are raving about us. So that would probably be I'm thinking back to from the very beginning, understanding that getting those reviews is the best form of building your company in the beginning when you don't have a trust factor, you don't have a customer base, right? And then I was using property managers to get the word out about me because they loved me. So
I see a theme there of what Justin's talking about, and as he mentioned in the beginning, our businesses are molding together because of our mastermind and our personalities and relationship. Reviews is very important for me, and people wonder why sometimes. Like, why do you put so much effort into reviews? Reviews don't matter. You know, I don't even ask for reviews. If they want to give one, they will. You know, these are things that people tell me. And I'll tell you this, if you're building a business, that is your credibility. A few people are going to give you a shot just randomly, or because you advertised enough that you're all they see, right? But what makes them come back? What makes them tell other people? And what makes other people that randomly find you trust to call you? You know, when people look you up, you need to show up online. You have to have that online presence. But then when they look into you, if they're doing their due diligence, they're researching, they're going to find who has how many reviews and what's their rating and what kind of reviews are you getting. And that's where I focus. The credibility that you gain, like you're talking about, Justin, with one, having all the reviews, but two, having the badges of honor there. And the badges is another form of credibility. Here's a lot of people that have tried us and liked us. And here's the approval that we've gotten from these companies because they've seen a pattern of that success. So to me, it matters. It matters. Now, if you did it without reviews, congratulations. If you're starting a company now or in the last 10 years, this is important. You know, there's some anomalies like TK. TK's web presence admittedly is weak, but the personality and the credibility that him and Austin have built in their community has far exceeded what reviews could do. So there are anomalies to that.
Well, he's
but it's
he's
all
got a
based on the
huge
same thing.
word of mouth
absolutely.
referrals.
And
Yes.
TK's got a larger than life personality. I am not him. I cannot be him. But
Me
when
neither.
he walks into a room, every place I've ever been, he's the focal point of the room at some point because he has such a huge personality. And he's very good at many people from many walks of life enjoying his company. I mean, I've never met anyone quite like him.
Absolutely.
Now,
So
talking
you also
about the reviews, you were talking about the trust badges. They're called trust badges for a reason, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, if somebody doesn't know your company, reviews are that word of mouth. If that customer or potential customer does not know anything about you, they don't know anybody else that's had their appliances repaired by you. You know, maybe they're in a newer community and all the homes are newer and they don't have a lot of people that have had a need for appliance repair yet. And then here comes a new customer searching for that service. Those reviews are the word of mouth. You know, that's what they're going to trust. They're going to trust other people in their community on an online review.
So this has come up many times when I've been mentoring guys through this community. And any time they bring it up, and I've heard the same thing EJ has, where it's like, I don't even really care. It's like, okay, here's the thing. Reviews and those badges are the only way for you to document your body of work to where it builds security in your business. So my argument to them would be, if you only have 13 5-star reviews online, it's going to take one customer to drop that down to 4 stars, right?
Absolutely.
You're taking the chance. You're spending all this money, all your resources, all your time to to pump into this business, right? And maybe you are projecting that to your customers in a home constantly, but there's no way for them to document your progress in your company to where you're letting one disgruntled Karen or Kevin or somebody who just wants to be unrealistic.
Somebody that just didn't like your service charge.
Absolutely.
That never even became a customer.
You're taking the chance of ruining your entire reputation online and giving your competitors a leg up on you 2, 3, 4 years in. I mean, your entire goal in the first year and a half, 2 years is to document that progress in our industry. That is the only form of documentation we can provide that our customers can see that we've been here a while. We've been doing this a while. You know, we're doing the right things. We're making the decisions because we all have these situations come up where, you know, I'm a great technician. I've been doing this over 20 years, but I can't fix everything. And those situations come up where you're going to have to make a decision where you give money back and walk away and save that customer. We always erred on the side of when in doubt, give the money back, right? And that speaks to your character. And your customers also talk about that in reviews where they say, even though they weren't able to fix it, they did the right thing. They treated me with, you know, dignity, whatever. Those are the reviews where people search through and go, wow, okay, so worst case scenario, they can't fix it. They try. I'm not going to be out $350 for something that didn't work.
So I like this question, and it kind of goes with the conversation. Thank you, Saul, for being the only person participating today. It says, have you ever been questioned by a customer for having so many 5-star reviews? And I'll tell you, I never have. I've never been questioned for having so many. I have been complimented for having so many. And I have been complimented even when they don't know I'm the owner. They say, oh, your company has such a great reputation. There's just so many reviews. And I like the other angle there that Justin kind of glossed over. It's not really tied to buy-in, but it helps your character or your I don't know how to say. So your confidence. We talked about Moses being calm, confident, competent, and everything, right? When I started my business, I started with one-star review. I flipped the heck out. And I'll tell you, it wasn't even meant for me. It was another company with a similar name to mine in Texas.
I forgot about this.
And I'll tell you, it took me till I got to like 100 reviews to get a 5-star. I had to climb my way out of the hole that I didn't even put myself in. But now, heck, I got a 1-star review last week. I don't get many, but this was something that we did wrong. We went out to a customer that had a dent in their refrigerator door as if we could fix it. And when we got there, after he even sent a picture, we still charged him the service charge. And he was pissed. And he blasted a 1-star review. And I saw it and I'm like, oh, gosh. Oh, well. We went down to 4.9 stars. Okay. But I was able to call this customer calmly because I wasn't freaked out about my whole business falling to pieces. And I just said, hey, look, you know, we made a mistake. I appreciate you calling this out. You know, the way you did, I wish you would have called. But regardless of the review, I want to make this right because we failed there. And I was able to have that confidence and real genuine conversation without panic and without using my emotions. And the guy reversed the review without me even asking him for it into a 5-star. And he said exactly what you're saying, Justin. Is, hey, we had a little bit of a mess, and the owner made it right. Summarizing, so
sometimes it's not the problem; it's how you handle it.
Absolutely,
exactly. But it's always easier to handle a problem if you're calm about it. I know me and Justin both operate. We thrive under pressure, right? But in those difficult situations, it's a little pressure, but it's so much easier when you've got that credibility to stand on. I don't want to pass over this. Dr. Dan brought in a comment too. I was actually surprised when a customer said that they had looked at my competition, and because of my reviews, which I really don't have a great presence, and were the reason they called us. And it don't take many reviews; it takes quality reviews. But when you have many, they can't argue with the facts. I mean, it's facts. It's not one or two people's opinion. It's hundreds. And then they look at these 1 stars and they're like, what a loser. Like, who would put a 1 star like that on this company? They must have, what are the chances? I've got over 700 5-star reviews in just over 3 years. And, it's like 3 or 4 of them are 1 stars.
Well,
what are the odds that I'm going to have a bad experience like these 4 people?
Well, and they actually say through market research, and there's been tons of research into this area, that they actually ranked businesses and GMB accounts based on reviews, and the 5-star companies actually ranked worse than a lot of the 4.9s because they don't look spammy. I mean, if you got 275-star reviews, as a human being and as a customer, you go, there isn't one customer that had an issue.
Yeah,
like none.
I look for that when I'm
Right?
reviewing a product on Amazon or a company and looking at Google reviews. That's
Right.
the first thing I look for is, you know what? Show me the negative first. I don't want to even hear all the positive because there's going to be a ton of that, and it's all going to be the same muddled, praises. But I want to see what do they do wrong and how much do they do wrong versus what they do right. And how did they handle? What was their response? Did they even bother to reply to that review? And that's what I look at first, because that's how I'm going to evaluate a company. Because Absolutely. I want to, number one, are they human? Do they make mistakes? And if they don't, it kind of makes me question whether the reviews are fake or not, at some point.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Jeremy says, I was happy when I got my first 4-star to lower mine to 4.9. And that's why I don't freak out about it either. I like having a 5 just because it's a big round number and that's what we strive to be. But I don't mind having the negatives. My technique for a negative review is bury that sucker.
Yeah.
We go on a review purge. And quick response to Kyle. Yes, Kyle, I understand. We could have very easily been justified to take the service charge. My thought process on this was, he told us he had a dent in the door. He showed us a picture of it. We should have at that point been able to recognize, 1, we don't fix dents in doors, and 2, we definitely couldn't fix that dent. So that could have been screened out in the beginning process. We do have a screening process for triage and pre-diagnosing. That's one we could have missed and saved the trip at all. So I don't think it's fair to go to the customer's house knowingly not able to fix it. Whether we knew it or not, our system should have caught it. So that's why, Kyle. And like Justin said, it's when in doubt, we just give the money back. It's, hey, I'm not going to argue over my $89 service charge. I've told everybody on my team that we're not that company.
Yeah.
That if any customer argues, seems upset beyond normal, that they had to pay a service charge and we didn't fix it for whatever reason, just say thank you. Just forget it. Thank you very much. Have a great day. Just walk away. I'll pay them still. If that happens,
Yeah.
I'll pay them their commission on the service charge. But it ain't worth it. It ain't worth it. I mean, whatever your service charge is it worth having a 1-star review to make your company look at like in a negative light? No, it's not. It's
absolutely.
It's
well,
worth it.
Just like in my marriage, man, you can be right sometimes, or you can be happy. It's not about it's not about being right. The truth is you're spending potentially millions of dollars to build your business. Like, I never take the approach of, well, I should be getting this. The truth of the matter is, it doesn't matter. That one service call, if you look at your numbers at the end of the year, it's nothing. It's not even a blimp on the radar. And we can solve a lot of problems by offering that back and avoiding 1-star reviews, just like you said.
It shows.
What was the second part to Mike's question? I forget now.
The second part clear was after we build the credibility and trust in our businesses, how do you get the next guy that you hire to continue that
from you to your team?
So Justin's got the biggest team and tons of buy-in. I'm gonna let you answer that one. How did you transfer your culture and mindset mentality of taking care of customers into each of your techs that you've hired?
So I think this is really a 3-part question when it comes to approach with new employees, especially when you're trying to build a business where you don't have a name, to where you're having to, first of all, I sold the dream of this is life-changing money if you learn this career. So at the end of every day, I would show my technicians, hey, this is the earning potential you can make in this job. And the shock value of, oh my God, I can make $100,000 in less than a year. You have them on the hook to, I'm going to listen to whatever you have to say and follow it, right? So first of all, you got to bring in something to the table of, okay, how am I going to set the hook with this employee so they understand this can change their life, right? And once I did that, then it was, okay, it's all about customer service or all about speed, right? But more than anything, every person that's came to my business, I have personally trained myself and rode with for months to really make them understand that my purpose at the end of the day is to grow this company, to give them more opportunities, bigger opportunities, right? It's not for Justin to get rich and Justin to drive a Lamborghini and Justin to go on trips. It was never about us, me and my wife, meaning. It was about the idea of, if you do your job the way that I'm teaching you, we can bring in more people to where maybe you can be their manager someday. And then you can make money off of that, right? And making them understand that you're going to have to learn how to deal with all different type of personality types. So when you walk into a house, you're really sizing people up to understand what kind of person am I dealing with right now. So the sales approach of it really is getting these guys to understand that hopefully you're just a small part of a bigger pie. That was my approach with my guys to get them to buy.
You know what? Really quick, now that you mentioned the sales approach end of it, it got me thinking pretty quickly about when you go in and they're not sure if they want to go with you. You've gone in, maybe you've diagnosed something, and they're like, I want to get some other prices. I want to check some, get some other estimates, basically, because we all run into that. I run into that with my business, even though they're even a referral from somebody that's trusted and credible, another customer or whatever, or someone I know. At that point, how do you handle that to gain more trust and try to turn that customer around? Okay. And I'll tell you something that I've been doing, and it works in my business at ITD. I tell people when they hit me with that, I immediately tell them, I encourage you to go and talk to other people, because you should be educated on, and you should know what's out there and what different companies can offer you. Right. They may be thinking really small. I just want my compressor fixed on my refrigerator. But if you approach it to the aspect that you're still there to help them, okay? And what I do is I tell people on the phone all the time, go talk to someone else. But before you make a decision to go with them or me or whatever, if anything that they tell you is not making sense to you or is questionable or whatever, I want you to call me and I will give you some free advice, because I don't want to see you get stuck. I don't want to see you get taken advantage of. So I can guarantee you 99% of the time when I do that, it is so appreciated by that customer or client that 99% of the time they come back to me because I offered to help, even though they weren't probably going to be my customer. Mm-hmm. And they appreciate it so much that they'll come back. So that could be a tactic that you could use.
Absolutely.
And I mean, because you should offer help, because it sucks seeing people get taken advantage of. And when they do get taken advantage of, guess who they're going to come back to fix their problem? And now you're going to be fixing a mess rather than if they went with you and got it done right the first time.
Do you want to answer this one, EJ?
Yeah, I'll tell you this. If you claim that your mission statement or your vision or your goal for your business is to help others, and you only help others when you're getting paid, then you may have to look at that. Because I'll tell you, people call and I end up having to talk to them and say, here's the part that you need, because they want a part. They want to fix it themselves. Okay, well, here's a part. Here's where you can get it. Or heck, I've gone as far as sending somebody a YouTube video on how to fix it. It's like, here, you can do it yourself. No, I know I'll get crap for that. But they ask, where can I buy a new one? I don't sell appliances, or that's too much. Well, then I'll recommend a competitor that is probably in their price range. And it's about helping them. Now, when we see that the appliance, we need to, go ahead and walk away from it. It's not worth it. We're going to condemn it. I don't say pay me and leave. I'll sit there and have another 5-10 minute conversation with them, knowing I ain't making no extra money. I want to help you find the best replacement from the best place and how you're going to do it, because I actually care about helping them. And part of it is, like Mike said, next time they need something, they're going to remember who helped them. Next time they have a friend that says, hey, I need my dryer fixed, it's not heating, they say, hey, EJ's, EJ's helped me. I
Mhm.
trust them. It's about who you are and how you roll. That's why, I mean, there's people that make a very good living off of transactional customers and a transactional base. But even some of them probably do a little bit of this too. They're relational.
Right.
But
Yeah.
that's why we preach relational customers, relational businesses. People want to like and trust you.
Yeah.
And how can they do that? You're offering free advice.
Absolutely.
So
my
it's like the ultimate.
My response to that question, Mike, too, was exactly where he was leading. You know, what you made the insinuation about replacing a compressor. This is a perfect example of probably the hardest sell in our industry. And my pitch on purpose is, look, first of all, I'm going to notify the customer of everything that I know about this product before I go into dollars and what it's going to cost and all that. You know, so when I'm selling an LG compressor, I'll say, first off, are you aware there was a class action lawsuit on this fridge? You know, because I'm trying to earn trust to let them know, even though it's not to my benefit to tell you this, it's to your benefit. And I'm looking out for you first. So, by the way, you can get compensation for the part at this point because it's within the 10-year window, right? And then I'll go into, well, this is what they've done to make it to where the compressor won't fail again. They've updated it. They realized it over ramped, so they lowered the RPM speed. So I'm explaining, I'm doing benefit sales, kind of like EJ was talking about, right? We're building value in what we're doing. Not only am I going to repair it, but here's what's been done to ensure that it doesn't happen again.
But
Right.
that builds credibility. The knowledge that you have there, just knowing the fact that there was a lawsuit on that,
Yeah,
is beyond knowing how to repair the product.
right.
You know,
Absolutely. And
so that gains trust and credibility is added to you just based on that.
well, and if you're selling LG compressors, you should be understanding of why are they failing. The truth is they have oil migration issues. They have that the compressor would over ramp and it would boil itself and it would pump oil through the lines. That's why the update is needed with the jig so that it doesn't over ramp and cause the same issue again. And the other thing that I do in my business is, look, I know I get tons of like scoffs about this. My warranty is on purpose jaw dropping compared to my competitors. So my customers are aware I do a 5-year warranty on my sealed system work. Nobody in my city even compare. The longest is 90 days compared to me. And, you know, I have people all the time say, why do you do that? If they're only doing 90 days, do a year and you can still win everybody over. I'm trying to show my customer base that I stand behind my work and the quality of work that we do is better than anybody else.
Sometimes I think you say that just for the attention. I think you like the conflict in the community.
Address this last question by Joe real quick.
Yeah, so Joe asks, what do you tell a customer when they tell you they already know what's wrong with it and they want an estimate over the phone? So I'll take this one. It varies. Okay. If it's, hey, my door boot is ripped. Well, that's obvious. I know what's wrong with it. Okay. I can get them a quote, pre-order the part, and gain approval before we even get there. Now it's harder. It's harder because they haven't got to meet us. But for me, I'd rather in that situation know that I'm not going out there for a waste. I'm going out there for a first trip complete, and they've already approved the price. Now, if they think they know, that's when it's not obvious, but they're pretty sure it's the heating element. That's why my clothes ain't getting dry. And say, oh yeah, is it getting hot? Well, yeah, it gets hot, but they're not drying, so the heating element's going out. No. What we tell random customers that don't have an obvious problem, this is what we say. So our average repair cost is $150 to $250 plus parts and taxes. That's true. That is the average. Now, if to me, it's like when you raise your service charge and it's a screen out process. Yeah, I want to know. I want to give them an answer without giving them an answer, right? And I want to know if it's worth my time. If they're not willing in that area, in that range, they're not going to want the repair. Now, I could eventually turn that with my technical charm, how I finesse a customer, but that's why I don't. Saul says it's simple for liability reasons. We don't do estimates over the phone. So I mean, to me, it's more like it's hard to be sure without being there. But here's our average repair cost. You can post that on your website.
So can I throw you a curveball,
Here's our average.
Can I throw you a curveball when it comes to this? And I'm genuinely asking because this is actually getting ready to come up in a meeting I'm going to have with my staff at the end of the week. What do you do when a customer calls and says, I've already had another company come out and verify it is the compressor? What do you do in this situation when they ask, what's your price on that compressor? What do you do in that situation? I'm curious.
I do the same thing, but it's the same wording. Like, well, we like to verify ourselves before we do that, but theoretically, if it is, I give them a range, and it's a different range than the 150 to 250. And you know, a lot of times we'll say, well, what did they quote? Well, they quoted X. And I said, well, you should probably go with them. We're not that cheap, or we could probably do it for this. You know, and it depends. Like, I know you prioritize LGs. I do too. If it's an LG, I want to try to get that job, but I don't want to sell myself way short just to get it. You know, so I don't know. I just, man, we've gotten to where we're booking out more than 3 days, and I don't want to waste my time going out to a house, collecting $89, and they're mad because they already told us what was wrong with it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I'd rather screen it out.
All right, we've been on here almost an hour. This is a long one.
I just realized that.
Yeah, we should probably wrap it up and let everybody get to work, especially us.
Some of
Dude,
us
you
have
should
to
come.
work.
You should come on Wednesdays more often, man. This is a good one.
Yeah,
definitely.
Maybe you can come on Mondays or Fridays.
I could do that. I could do
All
that.
All right.
I love the Ask Me Anything Fridays.
Yeah. Well, we'll get you in one day. That's been your news.
Yeah.
Well, and to everybody in the community, man, New Year's is right around the corner. I wish everybody a plentiful and successful 2023. So.
Yeah, this is my last live stream of the year. Holy cow.
Yeah.
All right,
Any
guys.
New Year's resolutions, guys?
Gals.
Don't forget to check out servicealliancegroup.com if you're looking to grow your business and become more professional in your business. Maybe you need some tools and resources, some mentoring, coaching. We have the masterminds coming up in January. Let me or Zach Kreider know if you are interested.
I thought that was like
group.
February. I thought Zach mentioned yesterday that it was.
Yeah,
right
it's going to start in
ASTI,
February.
maybe?
Yeah, it's going to start in February after ASTI, but we're going to start putting together the groups in January.
Okay.
So, thanks for clarifying that. And thank you, Saul, Joe, Dr. Dan. We appreciate the love. Kyle, shout out. Don't forget to hit the like button on your way out, and we'll see you next time.